Deep within the African continent, nestled amongst its vast landscapes lies the Central African Republic. It's a nation of stark contrasts, a land of breathtaking beauty juxtaposed with profound challenges and deep paradoxes. Here, dense rainforests teem with an astonishing array of life, a vibrant ecosystem of flora and fauna, and mighty rivers wind their way through expansive savannas, carving paths through the heart of the land. Yet despite the natural abundance, its people remain among the world's poorest, facing daily struggles for survival. Rich in diamonds and gold, resources that could transform the nation is tragically trapped in seemingly endless cycles of conflict. These conflicts have relentlessly torn its social fabric for generations, leaving deep wounds. But beyond the often grim headlines of coups, crises, and humanitarian disasters, there's a powerful and inspiring story of resilience, a testament to the human spirit. We came to see the country not through the lens of conflict but through the eyes of its people. Mothers nurturing their children, teachers shaping young minds, and young activists who dare to dream of a future defined by peace and prosperity. Their quiet determination is palpable, found in bustling markets overflowing with life and in the heart of remote villages alike, where traditions endure. The scars of colonialism and the consequences of decades of misrule are visible everywhere, as foreign powers have, for far too long, treated this land as a mere chessboard in geopolitical games. United Nations peacekeepers remain a constant reminder of the ever-present fragility of peace in this troubled nation. Yet, despite the hardships, life tenaciously continues with a powerful and undeniable rhythm. Music, art, and the unbreakable bonds of community flourish even in the face of immense adversity. To truly understand and see the Central African Republic, you must look beyond the surface, past the chaos and the headlines, and find the enduring humanity that persists. This is a powerful testament to the unbreakable will to survive against all odds, and to the unwavering hope to one day not just survive but truly thrive and prosper. The Central African Republic, often abbreviated as CAR, is a vast, landlocked nation, a country grappling with immense challenges and possessing untapped potential. Its geographic location and diverse landscapes play a pivotal role in shaping its destiny. Positioned at Africa's crossroads, the nation finds itself at a critical juncture, both geographically and politically. Its borders with Chad to the north present both opportunities and challenges for cross-border relations and trade. To the east, it shares borders with Sudan and South Sudan, regions often plagued by instability, impacting the CAR's own security. The Democratic Republic of Congo to the south, and Cameroon to the west, further contribute to the complex geopolitical landscape surrounding the CAR. This central location has historically made it a hub for trade, a conduit for goods and services flowing across the continent. But tragically, this strategic position has also made it a target for conflict, drawing in various armed groups vying for control. The South's rainforests, lush and teeming with life, are an integral part of the Congo Basin, one of the world's most vital ecosystems. These forests are home to iconic species like gorillas and elephants, representing a treasure trove of biodiversity. However, these precious ecosystems face growing threats from deforestation and unsustainable practices. The Ubangi River, a major waterway, is vital for commerce, serving as a lifeline for transportation and trade. It connects Bangui, the capital city, to the world, facilitating the movement of goods and people. Northward, the landscape gradually transitions as rainforests yield to expansive savannas, painting a picture of diverse ecological zones. In these savanna regions, most people rely on agriculture, primarily farming cassava, a staple crop. They also cultivate maize and peanuts, contributing to the local food supply and economy. Despite the presence of fertile land, capable of yielding abundant harvests, insecurity and poor infrastructure continue to hinder agricultural development and overall progress. These challenges keep the nation's potential unfulfilled, preventing it from achieving its true economic and social prosperity. Beneath the soil lie diamonds, glittering symbols of wealth, gold, and uranium, valuable resources that could transform the nation's economy. However, these resources often fuel conflict rather than prosperity, becoming a curse instead of a blessing. Rebel groups and government forces battle for control of these lucrative resources, perpetuating a cycle of violence. This ongoing conflict is trapping the country in a cycle where its own wealth, paradoxically, funds its destruction, undermining its future. Climate change brings erratic rains, leading to devastating floods and harsher dry seasons, exacerbating the challenges faced by farmers and communities. These climatic shifts are worsening desertification and resource tensions, threatening livelihoods and stability. Deforestation for logging and firewood further depletes natural resources, and further destabilizes the delicate ecosystem, impacting the environment and the people who depend on it. For Central Africans, the environment is not an abstract concept or distant concern, it's intrinsically linked to their survival, their daily lives, and their future. Every day people adapt, showing remarkable resilience in the face of adversity, to a land of both immense promise and profound peril, a place of stark contrasts. Geography, with its diverse landscapes and complex challenges, shapes every aspect of life here, influencing culture, economy, and destiny. Long before Europeans arrived, this land was home to powerful kingdoms and diverse societies. The Banda, Baya, and Zande peoples built complex cultures and traded across the Sahara. Colonialism brought devastation. French conquest imposed forced labor, destroyed economies, and left deep scars. Independence in 1960 brought hope, but weak institutions and a fractured society remained. The first president, David Dacko, was soon overthrown by Jean Bedel Bokassa, whose brutal rule ended only with French intervention. The cycle of coups and rebellions continued, deepening ethnic divisions and eroding state authority. Governments rarely controlled more than the capital, leaving much of the country to armed groups. Decades of violence and misrule set the stage for the catastrophic conflicts of the 21st century. The legacy of exploitation and trauma still shapes daily life. The Central African Republic's history is not just one of suffering but of survival and adaptation. Its people have endured even as the wounds of the past remain unhealed. Understanding this history is key to understanding the nation's present. The struggle for stability continues. The dawn of the 21st century, rather than bringing progress and peace, ushered in a new era of turmoil to the already fragile nation of the Central African Republic. Decades of instability were about to be compounded. In 2012, the Seleka, a name that would soon become synonymous with fear and violence, a coalition of mostly Muslim rebels, many from neighboring countries, began to coalesce and gain power. They accused the government of broken promises, of failing to deliver on development and security, and swept south with alarming speed, their advance seemingly unstoppable. They ultimately seized Bangui in 2013, plunging the nation into deeper crisis. Their rule unleashed a wave of violence and chaos marked by widespread human rights abuses. This sparked the rise of anti-Balaka militias, self-defense groups initially formed to protect communities. These groups were primarily Christian and animist, drawing on traditional beliefs and practices. They retaliated with brutal attacks targeting Muslim communities in a cycle of revenge. The conflict quickly became sectarian, fueled by historical grievances and political manipulation. It was a descent into anarchy, with neighbor turning against neighbor in acts of unspeakable cruelty. Mosques and churches were burned in acts of sacrilege, and entire communities were displaced, forced to flee their homes. Civil war followed, tearing the country apart at its seams. The United Nations issued stark warnings of potential genocide, fearing a complete societal collapse. The state effectively collapsed, unable to provide even the most basic functions. Hundreds of thousands fled their homes seeking refuge in neighboring countries or internally displaced persons camps, and basic services vanished, leaving people to fend for themselves. The economy shattered, businesses closed, and the social fabric was torn apart, leaving deep scars on the nation. Trauma and mistrust linger, poisoning any chance of reconciliation. These deep divisions continue to poison community relations, hindering any efforts at rebuilding. Even after major fighting subsided and a semblance of order was restored, the country remained fractured, a patchwork of competing interests and armed factions. Dozens of armed groups continued to control territory, exploiting resources and terrorizing the population. A transitional government and UN peacekeepers brought a fragile calm, a respite from the worst of the violence. But true peace, with justice and reconciliation, remains elusive, a distant dream for many. For most, the absence of war means only a constant, low-level insecurity, a daily struggle for survival. The struggle for safety and stability is an ongoing battle, fought every day by ordinary people. The wounds of conflict run deep, etched into the landscape and the collective psyche. These wounds are shaping every aspect of daily life, from the economy to social interactions. Yet, amidst the ruins and the despair, people continue to hope for a better future, clinging to the possibility of peace and reconciliation. But the cycle of turmoil is not yet broken, and the path to lasting peace remains uncertain. Governing the Central African Republic is a daunting task. The state's authority is weak, often limited to Bangui and a few towns. International support helped restore elections in 2016, bringing Faustin Archange Touadéra to power. Yet armed militias still control much of the country. The national army is small and under-equipped, and the justice system struggles with impunity for past crimes. Elections are fraught with insecurity and exclusion, deepening political divisions. Building a functioning state means more than holding votes. It requires delivering security, justice, and basic services. Managing natural resources for all citizens, not just a few, is essential. Disarming militias and reintegrating fighters are monumental challenges. The path from conflict to peace is long and uncertain. Leadership and trust are needed to rebuild the nation. International intervention has shaped the Central African Republic's fate. The UN's MINUSCA mission, with over 15,000 troops, protects civilians and supports fragile peace. Blue-helmeted soldiers patrol towns and escort aid, but face vast challenges with limited resources. France, the former colonial power, has intervened repeatedly, but its influence is waning. Many Central Africans view foreign involvement with suspicion, creating space for new players. Russia has become a key security partner, supplying weapons and military instructors. The Wagner Group's mercenaries have helped retake territory but face serious human rights abuse allegations. Competing interests from the UN, France, Russia, and neighbors complicate the situation. For the government, balancing these powers is a delicate act. For ordinary people, foreign soldiers bring both security and a reminder of fragile sovereignty. The nation's future depends on navigating this complex web. International actors shape the landscape, but local agency remains crucial. Daily life in the Central African Republic is a struggle for survival. Over half the population relies on humanitarian aid, and life expectancy is among the world's lowest. Healthcare is shattered. Hospitals lack medicines, electricity, and staff. Diseases like malaria and malnutrition are rampant. Clean water and sanitation are rare luxuries. Education is in crisis, schools destroyed, teachers unpaid, and literacy rates among the lowest globally. Many children are vulnerable to militia recruitment, perpetuating violence. Infrastructure is nearly non-existent. Unpaved roads become impassable, and most of the country lives without electricity. Economic activity is stifled, and development is slow. Yet, amidst hardship, people persist. Markets bustle, women walk miles for water, farmers tend fields, and children play. These routines are acts of defiance and hope. Community and dignity endure even in adversity. Rebuilding will take decades of peace and investment. The human spirit persists, refusing to surrender. Survival here is more than endurance. It's resilience. Beyond suffering, stories of hope and resilience define the Central African Republic. Women's associations form peace committees, uniting Christians and Muslims to resolve disputes and prevent violence. Local educators like Jean-Pierre teach children under mango trees, sustained by community support. Education is seen as the only hope for a better future. Trauma centers in Bangui help survivors, especially women, heal and rebuild their lives. This work restores dignity and hope, even after unspeakable suffering. Resilience is everywhere. Young entrepreneurs start businesses, interfaith leaders preach unity, and journalists risk their lives for truth. These are not grand gestures, but small, courageous acts of creation. They are sparks of light in the darkness. The future is being built, brick by brick, from the ground up. Ordinary people are the architects of peace. Their spirit is the nation's greatest resource. Leaving the Central African Republic, you feel sorrow for its suffering and anger at decades of exploitation. But the true story is one of strength and agency. The enduring image is not victimhood but resilience. Market women, laughter in homes, farmers at sunset, and students dreaming of a better life. The nation's future will be forged by its own people, not foreign powers. The path ahead is long and uncertain, demanding new leadership and sustained support. To forget this nation is to forget our shared humanity. The struggle for peace and dignity here concerns us all. The resilience of its people inspires hope. They have endured the unimaginable, yet continue to strive and build. Their spirit is a promise of a new dawn for the heart of Africa.